Hi all, he's back again. Speaking to about the 3 people I get watching at the moment. Oh, and the 1 subscriber. It's not stopping me though. I'm gonna keep at it. Hopefully we can beat this algorithm. About 7 videos in now, so I'm committed. And yeah, it's keeping the gut at bay with these runs anyway. Oh, so what's going off? I'm on a late run tonight. It's roughly about just before 9 o'clock. That's because I've been busy, but also it's been a slight bit too warm to go running with the dogs until about now. Out with them both again. Actually, a revelation. The dogs have like switched. So beforehand, when I used to go out running, I used to go out with Layla. Never really used to take Ebbie used to go with my wife. And yeah, the reason I was is because Ebbie used to trail behind and used to pull behind, and she just wouldn't keep up. Well, this time it's the opposite way around now. No, it's because Ebbie's been coming out on a few runs with me, but she's in front and Layla's the one trailing behind. So Ebbie's golden retriever, Layla's a Springer. I suspect Layla's probably leading, holding back and slowing us down, because what normally happens is I take her on this track and do a bit of training with her, so gun dog training as you like to call it. But we're not doing that today, so I suspect she's probably sulking a bit. But probably saves me running too quick and sounding like my lungs are going to drop out on this video. So if anybody who's not watched before, my name's Ellis. I've just set up a business called Heat Oil Compare UK, or heatoilcompare.com is the internet site, a price comparison site for heating oil. So if you live in a rural area, you don't have access to gas, you're pretty much limited to either electric, which as we know in this country is massively expensive, and or heating oil. Yeah, and at the moment there's not really, there are comparison sites for heating oil, but mine's better. I've got some well, better in my opinion. I know we'll see how better it is to customers, because we've got some other features, whatever else that these other sites don't have. So we'll see how that goes in future. So what I would do is I go on these runs and I probably chat, give an update about the business that's going. So what I'm trying to do here is document my business journey, and it's one of the things that new business owners are recommended to do: document the journey. So a blog, write a diary. But I'm doing it in conjunction with my branding. So what I want to do is brand myself, link myself to the business, and then if I do any more businesses on top of this, which I've got a few ideas in the pipeline, primarily focus on Heat Oil Compare until we can get that upwards to scratch and running. Yeah, anything that's attached to me ends up getting branded with me, and that's helpful in the future, and also gives that personal touch. Like I keep saying, I'm not just some random guy stuck behind some flashy title or some brand. I'm actually a real person from up north who lives in Somerset, rural Somerset. So yeah, what should we talk about today? Updates. Let's do an update. Well, sometimes what I do is I like to talk about something that I'm thinking about. So I know in the past I've spoken about branding. What else have I spoken about? What else have I gone on about? I can't remember the content of a previous video. That's how much a longer week it has. How long this week has been. Yeah, I took out a lot of things. But the previous video, I suspect, video today will be just more talk about an update. I do want to talk about business plans in future, because that's something that's very new to me. I don't know if I'll have enough time to fit in this video today. But yeah, update. So these are some of the issues I've been facing this week. And believe me, it's been ups and downs this week. It's been an absolute roller coaster, to say the least. As you might have noticed, I forgot my earphones. So once I've done rabbiting onto you a lot, I'm gonna have to run back with no music. Oh well. And hopefully I haven't affected the sound too much. I know the microphone for the headphones is what normally connects to my phone. So you may be hearing a bit more wind and insects chirping away. So, yes, updates. So like I said, it's been some ups and downs this week. So the start of the week, and I saw that we were at the end of last week. Start of the end of last week, I'm not sure that we got a supplier on board, and they've been really helpful. I'm really patient actually, because once we've had this supplier on board, we've realised that we've had a few issues with the site, and pretty much after I'd got the supplier on board, we had a catastrophic failure. The base just dropped off the whole supplier dashboard, but luckily it wasn't too much of an issue on the supplier side, because it doesn't affect the live version. There's like a sandbox version I use that sort of updates. You can test the update, and I was able to roll back to a previous version, so it wasn't too scary. But like I said last time, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I was messing about with it on a school night, wow, I was ready to throw in the towel, I'll tell you that. Definitely ready to throw in the towel. I think I totally forgot that the live version was unaffected. So I think I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm going to send the supplier an email saying, and his mentor saying, yep, it's done for, my endeavour in business has ended. But I'm still here. I didn't give up. Next morning, once I've had a few hours kip, and I mean it was only a few hours kip, it was a long day and work that day. I was back on it again, tiny bit more refreshed, and my attitude, my go-getting attitude was back on scratch, back and forth. So I think this might be a good video, because of a lot of my problems and issues this week have been around what program I've been using to make the site. So I've utilised a program called Replit. Now, Replit is a sort of an AI site. So how it works is you have an AI agent that you ask it to do what you want it to do. You can do it verbally, or you can do it I'm turning back around again, so I don't have to go back in the field full of electric cables, electric fencing. I can't be bothered to lift these dogs over. I can go a different route. So how Replit works is that you have an AI agent and you ask it to program you stuff. So essentially, on the face of it, that sounds amazing, you know? You've got an AI that's basically building your site. But it ain't that easy. As I've learned, it is not that easy. So first things first, with an AI agent building your site, you have to know what questions to ask it, and you have to know what you're asking for and how you're going to ask it. And on the face of it, that doesn't seem that complicated, but trust me, if you ever use this site, especially because it pays for the energy it uses, so you pay for everything it does, right? Which admittedly is a lot cheaper. Well, we'll see if it's a lot cheaper than buying a site being configured from an expert. some of the fundamental issues that you have is with an AI agent, there's also a layer of subjectiveness. So how that agent physically understands you. And I've definitely learned a lot about its functionality since using it. And yes, it's you cannot expect it to do what you want it to do and it to be working fine either. Yes. So so essentially, like I said, it's an AI builds you to the internet site. But with mine, it's massively complex. And I've learned, because it's cost me the money as well, linked to that, I've learned that you can also be too nitpicky, that's a good word for it. So if you delve too much into it, I don't take a step back and not ask it questions that are on a wider level, rather than what you'll do is, like, for example, let me give you an example so you can understand what I'm explaining. So on Tuesday, one of the failures of the supplier side meant that I had to fully rebuild it. And when I first started building the site, so I integrate Google Maps to sort of tell the site, or tell the so basically the supplier can set where they want to deliver to and when they're not going to deliver to, and exclusion zones, whatever else. That first time round, that took me a hell of a long time to configure. You know, you can't just go Replit, AI agent, whatever your name is, it's just agent. Make me a page for suppliers that utilizes Google Maps so they can set where they're going to deploy, where they're going to deliver to. The issue is that you know, it requires a lot of external API links, and it's just not that clever. You really do have to start at the general level, and then you do have to ask it questions, which I've learned today. Well, more. I've learned to utilise that power a lot more today after doing a bit more research. Probably research should have done weeks ago. So instead of telling it what to do and being really close in on each page and being very nitpicky with each page, you need to ask it questions. So what I should have done on Tuesday night is gone, when I was reconfiguring it all again, is how can I make this map work, or how can you make this map work, or how can I make this map work efficiently on the page that's not too overcomplicated. You know, these are ideas, examples. I probably just sound like I'm rambling on here. And instead of make this work, make that work, make this work, make that work, and that's ultimately why it's costing me a bit more time this week, costing me a bit more money, probably unnecessary money, and but I think we're there now. I think we're back on. So I made some updates today, trying the new method of asking it questions rather than telling it what to do. We have implemented some updates, and I think we're going to redo some proper live testing tomorrow, proper in-depth live testing. I think we should be there again, and the product should be back to full quality that I think we had before we had this catastrophic failure. Going back to it. So, as I said, there's been some ups and downs this week. Certainly when the internet site dropped its whole supplier side, and when I was having lots of issues, you do go through the emotions And one of the first ones I seem to get all the time is imposter syndrome. Am I doing the right thing here? Have I got the capability here for this? Am I just wasting my money or wasting my time? You know, what's really the point of this? And like I said, I've been close to throwing in the towel a couple of times. Really close to throwing it in. But how I managed to get through it, so imposter syndrome is something I've had probably since leaving the military, really. And that's because of the military, I feel, is, you know, quite, you know what's going off. It's quite linear. You know what you need to do next. You know what's going to happen next. You know how it works. It's almost like a bit more in-depth sort of school. Yeah, an adult school. What I mean by school is when you went to school with your mates and you had people in charge of you, and everything is sort of configured. You know, although you're constantly pushed outside your comfort zone, you know what the boundaries of that comfort zone will be, because of, everything's rather controlled. Well, in Civvy Street, as we like to call it, get a new job, and now looking at business. You know, that sort of protection, I don't know if it's protection, but sort of, we'll just call it protection, because I can't think of a better word. You know, it's not really protecting from anything, you just sort of know what's going off. It disappears. And you do really feel like I'm on my own now. Even though I'm not, I've got my wife, now I've got my son, I've got my family, whatever else. But sometimes it is really easy to get bogged down with imposter syndrome. And that came this week. But my way of getting through it is, well, luckily, my wife's very supportive. And we know if we can make this work, I think it'd be really good for us. Also, we've always got a viable product because we've got a supplier on board. And we've spoken to a few people now who are in the business field, who've sort of asked us a few questions, sort of applied a bit of constructive criticism to it, and it seems to check out okay. So, you know, it can't be that much of a failure, surely. And then in my head I'm like, I'm learning, even if it does fail, I've learned something new. I'm getting some experience from it. It's not really costing me stupid amounts of money yet. And if anything, if it does fail, do something else. But I definitely know that my future has a business involved in it. You know, me and my wife have got a business, or me or my wife's got a business, and we're able to support ourselves by ourselves, or by something that we created, not by ourselves, because of you never know, in the future it could be managing itself and we're on to other endeavours. So that's the plan, that's the goal. But I'd definitely say, you know, if you're in that position, just remember why you were doing it in the first place. Remember what was driving you to do that. And, you know, unless everyone's telling you it's wrong, unless advice is telling you that, you know, this is not viable, it's not working, it's never going to work. And believe me, you can get that criticism by speaking to the right people, and sometimes it's absolutely useful to be able to get constructive criticism. I know sometimes people are also resentful, but you can sort of know, don't you? You sort of know when someone is being resentful or someone's actually positively criticising and helping you out. Sounds like a positively criticising. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, these are some of the punches, rollers of punches we've had this week. But now, where we're at, what we're going to do. So, like I said, I've learnt with this Replit program. My plan in the future is I want to use it to get a viable product on board. Well, it's a viable product, but I want it to be generating income of the site I've created of Replit. And if you go on my site, it's quite professional, very professional. It does look good, and it should all work. It definitely works. But the other problem with using Replit is that it is you're quite locked into using it once you've started building on it. So one of the questions I asked it today, so one of the programs that people use for creating internet sites is WordPress, internet sites, programs. It's the internet sites of programs, I can't remember what I'm saying. Honestly, I'm rambling some, can't remember anything, I can't even say word. One of the things that people use is WordPress, right? Now I asked Replit today, can this be exported to WordPress? Because in the future, what I expect will happen is I'll generate some income off this Replit site, and then if I generate enough money, I'll probably get someone who's a lot more qualified in this to build me the site on a program that means that, you know, a lot of people can have access to coding it. What I mean by people access to coding it, means like if I employ someone that can do the configuration side, or if I utilize different companies to do it, they can have access to it and they can do bits and bobs. But at the moment on Replit, you're very locked in on it, which is unfortunate really, because yeah, it'd be good if it operated with everything else. I suspect that's how they keep people on it, I suppose. Because I did ask it, I got Replit agent, can you just transfer to WordPress? And I got a thinking. That would basically take several weeks. And at that point I was like, yeah, by then you're probably better off just paying for something to be done by scratch. So yeah, that is a limitation to Replit. Good for getting something on board cheaply. It's good for getting it online. Can configure something quite complex like my site. But you just have to know it has to get the right questions and really understand its limitations, and really understand that it's just an extra layer of subjectiveness that may or may not understand what you're saying. So yeah, that's it on that front. What else can we talk about? I feel like this is quite a quick one today. I've got a few more minutes we just chat. Yeah, so what's his plans next? So again, I want to keep getting some more suppliers on board. Another thing we're going to look into, and I might actually do a specific video on this, is grants. So me and wife last night were looking through business grants. They're not in abundance. A lot of them for quite specialised stuff, which was quite disappointing actually. I thought there'd be more access to funding, especially while I've got this low growth economy going about. But yeah, I think I might do a full video on that, because that's something I could rabbit on about. It probably might be hard to talk about it without getting too political. If anybody's watched my videos before, I'm trying not to get political on this page, this YouTube page. I quite like politics. I know if I find myself complaining about it or preaching about it. Anyway, my family watching this, you're probably laughing. I really want the site to remain accessible for all. If you, even if you apply yourself to a certain part of the political spectrum. But yeah, funding is going to be our next big problem issue, because yeah, like this week I've realised we're very limited with just me and my wife doing this, and I think I really worry at the moment. Well, this is my biggest worry actually at the moment, that the fact that we feel like we're bootstrapping it, the fact that it's only me and my wife doing it at the moment, the fact that really, you know, we're really, and also the fact we just had a new, my son's only just been born, I work full time, my wife's on paternity leave, even though I keep joking saying, oh, you're on a 9-month jolly, which she absolutely isn't. She's really, really busy with her little one. Yeah, one of my biggest sort of concerns at the moment is, because there's only two of us, this could impact the quality and could really put off suppliers, which we really don't want, because we want them on board as much as possible. So yeah, funding is going to be our next big thing, and access to funding could definitely give us access to help, whether that be permanent full-time help or freelance help on the side. Probably freelance at the start, and then maybe hopefully full-time help or part-time help. Yeah, that's where we're at. I feel like this video today I've just randomly talked about stuff, but actually it's been quite helpful to me. So maybe it's lucky there's only like 3 people watching at the moment. But yeah, so yeah, thanks if you're watching this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for listening to Rabbit on for about 27 minutes. Remember, like and subscribe if you've not done already. Please use the comments. Give me a bit of advice. Give me a bit of if you're on a business journey, give me a bit of update. Or if you want to chat amongst yourselves, hopefully that might help out your business. All 3 of you. And yeah, hope to see you in the next couple of days, and hopefully with some better news. Hopefully not rolling with the punches and having ups and really big downs, but we're getting there. I haven't got much hair left to drop out for stress, so I don't have to worry about that one at least. So yeah, see you all in 2 days.